Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel or becoming a patron at patreon.com/Afterlife Topics. Hello everybody, welcome to Afterlife Topics Metaphysics. This is Cyrus, and on today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the nature of some of the behind the scenes information about my work and who my friends are upstairs whom I've been in clairaudient communication with. Now, in essence, everyone is a bit linked to a group known as the Ashtar. You can Google who the Ashtar are. They were made famous in the 70s with this radio transmission they made in 77 talking about Ashtar High Command. People thought it was a hoax. It was not a hoax. So I use the term extraterrestrial loosely because, well, they don't call themselves extraterrestrials and they look quite human. And this has actually been my main group. So different people that have come through, Lorna, and these different groups are, in a sense, connected as well to the Ashtar, whom also represents some of my primary guides. And of course, it's been a bumpy ride, and some people are still confused because there was misinformation poked here and there. But that misinformation was really just a bump in the road because what happens in my life now are constant miracles, and I try to post them on this group. I'm seeing extraordinary UFOs in the sky, so are my friends and other people. All kinds of crazy stuff happening in the world right now, which all I can say is just keep an eye in the skies, keep looking for miracles in your own life. So I'm going to begin with this video talking about an experience I just had, and then segue into talking a little bit more about who some of these people are, and a few pointers about what this civilization is like, which again, you can actually Google and find out a lot more about them. And I had no idea that my primary influencers, the people helping me write my books, the people kind of channeling information down to me, were all along this group known as the Ashtar. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on over to the Facebook group now, and let's take a look. So my thread is called What It's Like Having Crazy Ashtarian Guides. I was feeling a bit down and out the other day, so a particular lady in clairaudient communication with me said that she cast a love spell on me. So I'm like, okay. But for it to take effect, I needed to walk to a specific location in this nice outdoor shopping center I go to usually every other day, disconnect from the communication, and walk under an archway. So I did this, and when I got close to it, they said, okay, we're going to end our communication. Just keep walking forward and you'll see it. So I came up straight to a wall. Keep in mind, I was here like the day prior and this message was not on the wall. You can see it says, I love you so much. And this is kind of in her style and her font. So that was quite surprising. Further in the thread, I actually talk a little bit more about whom one of my communicators are. Not necessarily this one, because keep in mind it's like a network. Speaking clairaudiently or communicating telepathically, it's funny because it's a lot like using social media. So I have a network of people and I have documents of the different people that I stay in touch with. I remember what they look like. And when I want to communicate with them, I know how to work with my subconscious as well as my conscious mind. And basically it kind of looks like this. I'll visualize them, I'll look at their image, and then I'll kind of, almost like I'm using a computer interface, I will just tap on their image and say, hello, can you hear me? So I might see, for example, Lorna, and then I will say, think within my mind, Lorna, can you hear me? And then sometimes she will not respond because she's doing something else. Her mind has been switched off, she's resting. But I will simply tap and say, Lorna, and then if I'm lucky, I'll hear a voice come straight back to my mind, and it will say, Cyrus, I'm here, I can hear you, how's it going? And then a communication will begin. So that being said, the Ashtarian side of things has also been involved with all the work I do. And it gets a little bit addicting because you're talking to one person and you can visualize them. They're sending images to you. They're joking around with you. And then they're like, let me introduce you to my friend. And you're talking to their friend. And on and on and on. You end up with a huge Excel sheet of all these different people you know. And I would say about half of my contacts are Ashtarians. And I've been able to learn a lot about Ashtar and learn how so much of my work that I do on this channel over the years and my books has been inspired, also including the pushback that I'm always doing against the New Age community and the spiritualist communities and how they keep going wrong, which is why, unfortunately, I've been making Let's just say the spiritualists don't like me very much these days. I don't think I'm going to be attending any spiritualist Christmas parties coming up in Australia or England or anywhere anytime soon, because some of what the Ashtar are saying, they're not necessarily in lockstep with some of these ideas that are very popular on the internet and in the among certain channelers, channeling certain soul groups, pushing people into hollow heavens, and doing the kind of stuff that annoys the crap out of the Ashtar. So, here's a lovely photo of an Ashtarian woman I know named Esmeralda. She's a guide for a woman who channeled her artistically. So I began talking to this woman, Esmeralda, and she said, if you want to know what I look like, there was a woman who I'm the guide for. They call them usually when you have someone who's a guide, as in they have actually like a telepathic overlay over them and they can hear their thoughts and see what they're doing. They usually refer to them as their sons or daughters. So her daughter drew her and interpreted her to be kind of like a fantasy elf with ears. So that's not accurate. But nonetheless, she told me it's a beautiful depiction of how she really looks, and that basically she told me to go on Google, type in this particular artist, find it, and it worked. And then I went on and I found the actual art page of the woman who made this. I believe it's a woman. It might sometimes there's mistranslations, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of like a 35, 40-year-old woman who's an artist and made this image a long time ago. And here it is. So this is actually Esmeralda again. I should say the image on her, or the like tattoo on her head, is actually an Ashtarian symbol that again was, she said, kind of expertly channeled, and that image is her. And so Ashtarians, they're a little bit shorter sometimes and a bit petite, and they pretty much at that level of existence they can kind of look like whatever is in their heart, whatever they want to look like. So let's continue. Anyone else I talk about my communication with, whether it's angelic types or the wily Persephone, are related in some way to Ashtar, because they are behind the scenes really helping out, trying to help the planet, trying to work with different people, trying to really help sort of the planet out by making connections here with people who have clairaudient abilities. So, to continue. So with the exception of Brandel Vaya and a few others who are from different universes entirely, a lot of my guides are in connection, like actually say Archangelic Order. They are not Ashtarian, but they are this, organization that is represented by the fact that these are actual saints. There are people within that order who include Joan of Arc, and they have big angel wings, and they are trying to inspire and uplift humanity, which is what the Ashtar do as well. So the head of Ashtar is Minerva, and we know about her in our mythology. Her real name is Minerasa. I also have communicated with Minerva herself. Minerva has been depicted in our mythology with different names. One of those is Ishtar. Now, I was told Ishtar, Ashtar. Well, there's a reason that apparently if you were to go way back into the origins of Ishtar, they told me literally it's just a mistranslation, because back then there were channelers and clairaudient telepaths who were not that good, and they heard Ashtar, they thought they said Ishtar, they affiliated with Minerva, and then Minerva's name became Ishtar, but they actually meant to just say that she's Minerva of Ashtar. Pretty funny stuff. So, you can find out more by also Googling Ashtar, as I said, and they sent out a radio signal in 77 by Vrillon. But in real life, the Ashtar consists of 150,000 planets up in the densities. Of course, the densities is the other universe. Every time you hear about different density levels, they're referring to this other universe that we can go to when we kick the bucket. We can go to. Many people don't go there. Many people go into dreamscape realities, hollow heavens, or sometimes other universes. But for the most part, about 30% of people who pass away go up to the densities. Okay. People responded saying that she looks like an anime character, somebody, I guess, from Pokemon or something. Somebody was asking if other Olympian type of deities exist, and that's actually true. There's a lot of, I would say, powerful humans on that side who have come to us over the years. One of those is Persephone, whom I've channeled, and by channeled I actually mean hearing her voice in a semi-audible fashion in my room, with her presence being like sitting on my bed, and I can reach over and put my hand through her, and I'll feel all this electromagnetic charge. I will say, hey, can you pinch my hand? And then I'll feel a fingernail going right into my hand, because that's where we're at right now. That's how thin the veil is. And these are experiences that you can have as well. I want to do a live stream event soon to explain how you can have experiences like this, but that might be coming up a little bit later. I talk a little bit about the Elder Barons. And then in this post, I say, let's talk a little bit more about the Ashtar. And so let's go into more on the philosophical side and why I am pissing off spiritualists like there's no tomorrow. So a little bit more about the Ashtar. They're Christians. The crucifix is actually one of their holy symbols. And so they've basically been what we think of as Christians for billions of years. How is that possible? We're going back into the concept that Christianity, among other things, was seeded into our civilization. So it sounds even more crazy, but Jesus, according to them, was an Ashtarian starseed. So this was an Ashtarian guy kind of like plucked into our world. And that is why he could do certain things, let's say, other people cannot do. And as the type of things that an Ashtarian might have the capability of doing. This has been heavily documented by other channelers on the internet. I remember reading about Jesus as an extraterrestrial, as Ashtar, and I'm just like, what is this new age dribble? And I did not take it seriously, and then I began communicating with Minerva, and it's like, all right, well, I'm back on board. Which again, we all got to keep our critical thinking hats on during all of this. It's just that, you know, when you're working with these types of people and you're astral projecting, you're meeting with them almost in person this way. You've had physical materialization experiences, like when Lorna popped up in my room that day and was like physically on my bed, and I was like, is this really you? And she's like, yep, this is me. And then poof, disappeared. It's like, you know, they say you can judge them by their fruits. So what are the fruits? Healing my illnesses, psychologically healing me, healing people in my community, removing voices from people's heads. So it's kind of like I get emailed and messaged constantly. You shouldn't trust them, Cyrus. They're evil spirits. They're evil spirits. They're evil spirits. Lorna said the F word in the last video, and a bunch of people hated me for that. Jurgen, thank you very much for deciding that my guides are not legitimate because they curse. Because we all know that you have to curse. I'm sorry, you have to not curse to be a pure-hearted angel. So what this means is that, well, what do we, how to say it? There's just a lot of I don't know how to say it, just miscalibrated opinions, basically, about the nature of how guides are, how people are, and how people on the other side are still people. It's just really important to get that message across, that this is what's necessary. I should say it's necessary to teach people that, you know, it's okay to curse. Okay, people are people. People have personalities. People have humor. People have all types of just, you know, wondrous differences of personality. And we're looking at a kind of spiritual community that has cropped up that is very, very, I guess I could say, extreme in their viewpoints. Okay, so let's continue. So Christianity was seeded. They teach wholeheartedly about being saved, as in people in great desperation are not without miracles coming into their lives and their hearts becoming whole again. Okay. So even the most evil people can begin to feel empathy and love again. They warn greatly against ideas that karma is not real or evil is a construct. There is a constant spiritual battle in the hearts of many until they achieve a level of empathy where it would be impossible to ever hurt another soul. So as kind of an addition to what I'm saying here, I really want to point out how a lot of these spiritual communities, they keep pushing this idea that in order to liberate yourself, that basically you have to, in a way, negate the effects of karma. Because we go into all that stuff about kind of this mumbo jumbo about the law of attraction and how we must continually manifest things around us, manifest money, manifest pretty much anything we want, that we're entitled to all of these things. For some reason, we should not be in service to others. We just have to keep manifesting, manifesting, manifesting. Well, what comes in the way of manifesting? Oh, I don't know, your conscience, for example. And as a result of that, basically, it leads to this kind of daisy chain, let's say. And this daisy chain basically means that you start off thinking that way, and pretty soon you just want to be the kind of, let's call, we're going to keep souping it up the way that they do in all these channeled communities and all this type of stuff. We're going to become the creators of our own reality. Well, the Ashtar explained to me that this is very, very dangerous thinking. This leads right back to everything I've talked about on this channel concerning how, in essence, it's very dangerous to believe that there's no such thing as evil, and that evil is essentially a construct, something that we just learn from, that people who are evil come here to play the part of evil. Well, what do they teach in Christianity? That we can be saved. Anyone has a chance for their hearts to become pure and full of love again, but we cannot be so naive as to think that evil doesn't exist, and that, for example, how do we say it, moral relativism is somehow a philosophy that works. Because that philosophy has been attempted up in the densities, and it doesn't work. It results in really, really, really bad things happening. So let's continue a little bit. Again, as I just said, they teach wholeheartedly about being saved, as in people in great desperation and not without miracles coming into their lives and their hearts becoming whole again. Even the most evil people can begin to feel empathy and love again. They warn greatly against ideas that karma is not real or evil is a construct. There is a constant spiritual battle in the hearts of many until people achieve a level of empathy where it's impossible to hurt another soul. They warn against philosophies like the Old Mari. These philosophies try to say that horrible things happen because we agreed to it, and those with evil in their hearts are playing roles to help us evolve. This leads to a path that hurts many, many people, which is, again, we see this in these communities, and we see people who have the best interests at heart, but they're not communicating with the densities, they're not communicating with the Ashtar or the Arcturians or many other lovely groups. For example, the Lyrans are another group. And you can find out all about these people on the internet. These are all real groups up in the densities. But when channelers come along and they are making these claims, you'll notice they never have specific details about really where these ideas are coming from. Okay, the Ashtar will say we're from the planet Ashtar. Okay, and this is what Ashtar High Command looks like, and this is our leader, Minarasa. The Arcturians will say this is what our civilization looks like, and this is the name of this city, this place, and on and on. But when you're dealing with, I would say, channelings, which are coming from a, shall we say, surreptitious source, you notice you can never find information about them. You can never say, okay, so you're in the afterlife, you're in the densities, or supposedly, can you tell me where you live, where your city is, what you do on a day-to-day basis, do you go to the marketplace, any of these things. They just say, we exist. We are free, we are pure, we are in bliss, we are in constant bliss. It's like, okay, you're in constant bliss, I get it. Can you tell me a little bit about your world? Can you tell me a little bit about what to expect on that side? Are you, do you take walks in the evening? Can you, tell me about the name of a country that you're in? Who is the name of, I don't know, the person who works at the cafe down the street? Can you introduce me to that person? And just say, basically, it'll be just be this redundant thing. And this is the same stuff I've been railing at ever since I began this work. Because I didn't know it, but I was getting information fed into me from these groups warning people about basically fake channelings. And this is why these communities suddenly don't like me very much, because all of a sudden I guess, to paraphrase them a little bit, or not paraphrase, I'm upending the money changers tables. And that's a stressful position to be in. All right. So as I said, this was the theme in all my writings. It was only when I began connecting to them that it was explained distinctly that I was communicating with Minarasa herself and others. With actually other people in the community have also been talking to Minarasa, even though she's the head of Ashtar. Earth is her world, basically. Essentially, we have to keep in mind that it's not like the religions are wrong and, shall we say, there's some pagan goddess. No, it's that the creation of this world was tailored by Minarasa and Ashtar for a lot of reasons, which I'll have to get into some other day. So what causes evil? To be broken, disconnected from the Holy Spirit, and to begin using free will to find power from cruelty. It's very hard to understand these philosophical concepts. It has to be lived and experienced. So to continue, to go with some of the teachings of the New Testament, to turn the other cheek does not mean to be passive and let people walk all over you. It means to be unaffected by evil behaviors against you when your heart is centered in the Holy Spirit. Okay. Sometimes the darkest hearts do change, but never fall into the trap of trying to change someone whose heart is already, in essence, becoming so toxic and so dangerous that they end up pulling you into their web. Because we see this all the time. We see this in relationships, we see this in friendships, we see this all the time. When you love somebody, and you love them very much, you feel like you're the one who has to save them. What the Ashtar were saying about how Jesus saves you is that the Holy Spirit has to save you, which means that it's not your responsibility to try to save someone from themselves. In essence, they have to connect with basically the divinity within themselves, the divinity beyond them, bring that into their soul, and then finally they can kind of return to life or be born again. That's what all those teachings really, really mean. So in essence, the Ashtari are warriors. They are a massive militarized civilization. They do not mess around, but they are always available to give mercy and help people spiritually return to a loving state by reminding that karma is your conscience. To go against one's conscience is to fall astray. To flow with your conscience is the most important thing. When living in a great state of love, as the Ashtar do in their massive civilization, a lot of the issues in life that plague us fade away. What's nice is even, that photo of Esmeralda that I guess looks like a anime character or something, but the truth is that, this is a channeled image. I've been able to see her through, in essence, my mind's eye from communicating with her, and also via astral travel. Does she look like this? I'd say 80, maybe 85% accurate. So I've seen her in a white robe. She has that hair. She definitely has those amazing blue eyes. She has those beautiful features, but it's just a reflection of all this beauty inside of her. It's always trying to come out. This does not mean you have to look like that to be beautiful. There's another thread on Facebook right now that is basically, trying to start just a bunch more trouble in the community by saying that you have to look beautiful like that, or I'm trying to tell people that you have to be this beautiful to actually be beautiful. So this is just a grave misunderstanding, because the Ashtar are very, very beautiful, men and women alike, because the beauty in their hearts is always sort of mentally changing their physical bodies, right? But you can also look, and they sometimes do this on purpose, they will look actually very, shall we say, horrifying. They will look really horrifying as a way to teach people lessons about how you can't be so attached to this type of thing. In fact, they might even kind of look like really great and like scary, powerful demons and things like that. So basically, as I said here, when living in great states of love, as the Ashtar do in their massive civilization, a lot of issues fade away. What's nice is even that photo of Esmeralda, again, if you look at her eyes, there's incredible amounts of love, and this can be experienced by people in astral states communicating with them. So these are just some messages I'd like to share, and then I leave it off by saying if anyone wants to try to talk to Esmeralda through me, I can probably do that by just trying to reach out to her using the methods that I've talked about and the methods I'm going to talk more about in upcoming live streams and videos, where I can help teach people how to begin doing what I'm doing. You should probably at this point buy, for example, on Amazon, a pair of copper dowsing rods, because this is a way that you can begin training your consciousness to begin opening up the parts of your brain to become a clairaudient telepath like I am. So, with that said, I guess that's pretty much it. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Now you know a little bit more about the teams I work with, the philosophies behind what I do, and I hope that this provides some level of comfort or enlightenment or something like that. Or, if nothing else, something that's entertaining to watch. But I just hope that there's a message here that's been able to help you. With that said, everybody, this is Afterlife Topics. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new here. You may also want to join me for upcoming live stream events, one-on-one coaching, which I do for donations, where I do allow some of my team to come in and talk to me. The best way to reach me for that purpose is just email me at actually Cyrus K as in kilogram 4@gmail.com is sometimes the best way to reach me. Sometimes I'm not super active on my other emails, so it's sometimes easiest to reach me there. I also have my cyruskirkpatrick.com webpage, and that's pretty much it. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.